Swadika. Good morning and good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to CPHI Southeast Asia Digital Event. This session, we are in coordination with Silpakorn University and Thai Industrial Pharmacists Association, or TIPA. Today's topic is elderly drugs, what producers must consider. My name is June, and I will be your moderator for today's session. The elderly constitute a growing world population group with more than 200 million people over 60 years of age. Drugs are the most common medical intervention and important part of medical care for older people. Without drugs, many older people would function less and or die at an earlier age. And today it is my pleasure to introduce our honorable speakers, Professor Dr. Phornsak Siamornsak. He is the lecturer at Faculty of Pharmacy, Silpakorn University, and associate member at the Royal Society of Thailand, and of course, the Vice President of Thai Industrial Pharmacists Association, or TIPA. So please welcome Professor Dr. Phornsak.
Okay, thank you for your kind introductions, and good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, I'd like to thank Informa Market for inviting me to share with you the topics today on the elderly drugs. So let me share the slide. Okay. Okay. So the talk today will focus on the elderly drugs, and the topic will focus on what the producers must consider when they're going to develop and market the products to the pharmaceutical market. First of all, I'd like to disclaim that the logos and photos used in this presentation is for educational purposes only, and also thanks to Mr. Kasipong Thanawut for graphic design and slide presentations of these slides. Okay, and the content today will cover the introduction, the brief introductions on the elderly drugs, and touch a little bit on patient-centric pharmaceutical product design and the problems and challenges in oral drug deliveries, and of course on the problems and challenges like the dosing frequencies and polypharmacy problems and packaging problems for the elderly patients. So let's start with the introductions on the elderly populations. That you may know that the nowadays the populations have growing age. I mean, the median age of the populations in the world is increased, especially in the developed country like in Japan and in European country, Canada and USA. The median age is 40s to 50 something, but in Southeast Asia, the median age of the population is about 30 something years old, but in Africa, the median age is about 18 only. If we're focusing on the Southeast Asia, we will see that the ratios of the numbers of people older than 64 divided by the working age of 15 to 64 is increased. Until last years, the numbers of the ratios of the aging population is increased, especially in Thailand and Singapore. Is about 1/5 of the population is the aged peoples, and in other countries is about 10% of the population is the aged peoples. This probably due to the success in the public health policies and the medical advancement that caused the reductions of the death rate, and also the economics and national development that help to improve the numbers of the aging populations. Because of the increased numbers of the age populations, so they may face with the like the chronic disease or chronic conditions that is the challenges for medicine in the elderly, that include the hypertension, high cholesterol, arthritis, heart disease, diabetes, etc. Those people who got the chronic conditions will have at least one. They said that 80% of the aged peoples or the elderly peoples will have at least one chronic conditions, and 68% of those would have 2 or more chronic conditions, and this result in the use of the medications, many medication at the same time. So we call the polypharmacy, that takes many drugs together. Other problems and challenges for the medicines in elderly include the age-related changes in physiologies and organ functions. When they have the aging, so the physiology have changed, of course, and also the organs not functions like in the younger age. So this results in the swallowing difficulties. They cannot take the whole tablets altogether when they got several tablets at the same times. Also, the drug metabolism is poor. Also, the drug excretion is also poor. So that would be the problems when they have to take medicines. So altogether, so when they have the comorbidities, that means many diseases at the same time, so they have to take polypharmacy. When they are aged, so the cognitive function is worse. So for example, they got the dementia, so they forgot what they have taken. Like, for example, when they took the medicine, probably they forgot that they have already took, or maybe they haven't taken any medicine. Also, the mental changes, this resulting in the decreasing in the efficacy and the safety of the using medicine. So when we going to develop the pharmaceutical products, so we have to take this into account. That means when we going to design the formulations or the dosage form for the elderly patients, so we have to take the patients change, the age related change into consideration as well. That can call the patient-centric pharmaceutical product design. The patient-centric model is organized around the needs of the people rather than the individual disease. That means when we're going to design any products or any services, so we have to take this into account. Not only the disease, but only the patient's socials, the careers, the cultures, the families' priorities as important as of health. This slide shows the examples of patient-centric pharmaceutical product design models. When the patients different patients may have different gender, different pharmacogenomics. That means the genomes that respond to the drugs or disease, different weight, different comorbidities, or different organ function. These influence the drug response when they're taking the drugs. They may got positive results or negative results. Some may have neutral or get nothing, no positive result at all. That means the doctor have to tailor the dose according to these differences to make it positive, I mean, in terms of the treatment. So the major item considered as the design drivers for the patient-centric pharmaceutical product design include the characteristics of the drugs, of the disease or the conditions, also the patient's characteristics, the characteristics of the drug therapies and of the drug products. Also, we have to consider about the medications management, how to make the patient adhere to the treatment or to the drug administration. That means we're going to design the good dosage form that make it easier for the patients to take. Also, the usabilities or the UX, that means the user experience, to make the better user experience for the good handlings, the storage and the disposals of the products. However, I'm not going into the details of this, but you can go for the detail from these papers, the defining patient-centric pharmaceutical drug product designs, that in the APS journals. Okay, so if we focusing on the oral drug deliveries, there are some problems or challenges in developing the oral drug deliveries. This slide shows the route of drug administrations and the dosage form. You know that there are many dosage forms that can be given to the patients, like through the oral deliveries, inhalation, nasals, oculars, topicals, even in the parenteral dosage form. So in each dosage forms, there are many products that dosage form that you can produce, like the orals. You can make the tablet capsules, lozenge, solution, suspension, etc. However, most of the global drug deliveries makers by the route administration rules is the most is the oral dosage form. That means 53% of the product available in the market is the oral pharmaceutical dosage form. This then when the selection and the design of the patient centers dosage form continue to be one of the most significant challenges in the development of the product for elderly populations. Okay. However, when we going to develop the oral dosage form, so we have to consider the limitations imposed by the unique gastrointestinal physiologies of the patients. That means when the drug go to the stomach, small intestine, or the colons, they have different functions. Maybe most of the drug will be absorbed in the small intestine, but if your drug is stay longer in the stomach, so the onset of the drug will be slower, is not going to small intestine. So you have to know the functions of the GI physiology as well. However, when we talking about the elderly patients, the most significant problems in oral drug deliveries for the elderly patient is the swallowing problems. It estimated that approximately 1/3 of the population will have the pill swallowing difficulties, especially in the elderly population. So the modifications of the dosage form is required to make it easier for the elderly patients to take the drugs. However, nowadays in the nursing homes, the nurse may do some things if you don't have any easiest route to give the drugs, the tablets or capsules to the patients. So they may do something like this. They may use the clutchings of the tablets or ask the patients to chewing or splitting the tablets into half and then giving to the patients. However, this one is the risk of not receiving the full dose. That would be the problems when we going to take the potent drugs. That means the dose of the drug is very important. The content of the capsules or clutch tablets may be mixed with food to facilitate the swallowing. However, this may lead to poor or inappropriate dosings or compatibility issues when giving the drug with food or fruit juice, something like that. To make it, to solve these swallowing problems, so we can use the oral disintegrating tablets that the new dosage form available in the market right now. This dosage form, this tablet can disintegrate quickly in the mouth. That means disintegrate or dissolve in the mouth without taking water within 60 seconds or less, probably 30 seconds, depending on the technologies they use. That means the tablet can disintegrate into the fine powders in a short time. This oral disintegrating tablet or ODT, they have some advantages, like they can administer to the patient who cannot swallow, especially in the elderly patients. And it has the rapid drug therapy interventions, can achieve the increased bioavailability as well. It can have the rapid absorptions and convenience for administrations to the patients. However, they also have some limitations when using the ODT, like if the drug have the hygroscopic in natures, that difficult to formulate or make the tablet by using this ODT technique. The low amounts of drug can be incorporated in each dose, but if you're going to use the high amount of drugs, that would be difficult and can make the tablet bigger. So you have to consider the dose when giving to the patients by the ODT. Also, they have the these problems on the fragilities. It's quite highly fragile sometimes, so it's difficult to handle by making the tablet. That I will talk later in the next sections. So to formulate the ODT, the formulations development include the active pharmaceutical ingredients that should be dissolved in the oral cavity and then absorb. If it is in low dose, it would be okay, but the high dose would be some problems. Also, the drug shouldn't have the bitter taste. Otherwise, it maybe have problem with some people who don't like the bitter taste, because these drugs have to disintegrate in the mouth, and then they can feel the bitter taste. For the excipients selections should help to make the drug disintegrate quickly or immediately. Also, it should have to mask the bitter taste as well. So you can use something like sweeteners to help to masking the bitter taste of the drugs. So the main excipients include the diluent, disintegrant, flavors, taste marking agent, sweetener, binders, etc. that you can add it into the formulation. The technologies to be used for the ODT formulation is they can divide it into 4 technologies, which is the conventional tablet process with some modifications. They can add some disintegrant to make the tablet disintegrate quickly, or they can use the hydrophobic polymers that can disintegrate quickly. Or they can use the freeze drying method. This one can absorb water quickly and then dissolves very quickly because of the high porosity in the tablets. However, this one is quite fragile, so one have to handle it softly. They can use the force formations or cotton candy process to make the tablets like the cotton candy. So it's very light tablet one. So they can use the 3D printing technologies or the SIGDOS, which is the latest technology that they have used for the ODT. So this slide shows the different technologies, and they compare the disintegration time of each technology. So you can see that most of them can disintegrate quickly within 60 seconds. That is the criteria for the ODT that has to disintegrate within 60 seconds, but mostly less than 30 seconds, maybe 10, 20, depending on the technologies. And in these columns, so you can see that they compare the tablet hardness and robustness. That means is it easy to handle or not? If the tablet is hard or robust, that means it's quite easily to handle. But the soft and fibrous, that means the tablet can very fragile. So you have to handle it softly. And you can, for the soft and fibrous, so you cannot put in the bottles, but you have to put in the blister pack and protects from the pressings on the blister pack as well. And the last column show the numbers of the products available in the market. That the site is one, the 3D printings have about 15 products available worldwide. This slide shows the SIGDOS, the 3D printing technologies to make the ODT. This one has this only one product that available in the US market right now. 6 years ago, it have been approved by the FDA as the 3D printed drugs for the anticonvulsant levetiracetam, which is the tablet can quickly disintegrate in the mouth, and then when it's mixed with water, it will go to be the suspension in your stomachs very quickly. This one can be produced by putting the powders into the molds and then spraying the binders to make the powders to accumulate together or to bind together to make the tablets. So this tablet is very fragile as well. When we talking about the ODT, there are some challenges when we are going to developing the when we are going to develop the ODT, which is the disintegration time, the mechanical strength, also the problems when we're going to formulate this one. Most of them are very fragile. The test markings is the important one that we have to take into consideration, how to masking the bitter taste. The sensitivity to environmental conditions, especially for the hygroscopic drugs that tend to absorb moisture very quickly, the mouth feels, and also the cost when using the new technologies for the ODT. The test marking, as I mentioned, that very important one, and this slide show the techniques to masking the bitter taste. So you can use the organoleptic method, like you adding the sweeteners into the tablet formulation that can help, but people or patients can still feel the bitter taste anyway. We can use the polymer coatings, the hot melt extrusions, spray dryings, complexations, or microencapsulation. On this slide, show the one of the examples of the microencapsulations for the test markings ODT. This produced by making the microcapsules of the drugs before produce the ODT tablets for the donepezil and the Alzheimer's drugs, which is very bitter when giving orally by the ODT. But this one of my former students have done this by encapsulate the drugs in the polymers, the Udecid E, and then using the PVA as the stabilizers for the water in oil in water emulsions, and drying them, the microcapsules. Then we got the drug in microcapsule and then can produce the ODT. Other dosage form and innovations can also be used to help in the swallowing problems in the elderly. So we can use the swallowing aid jellies. These jellies help to swallow the medicine easily and tastily, because the jelly we can flavoring the jellies with any flavors that available in the market as well. Depending for that, it can be used for children, for adults, or elderly peoples, or the people having difficulties to swallow, so they can have the different taste or flavors by adding the jellies with the drugs, and then just taking the drugs using the spoon. That really easy, but it's quite costly. You use the swallowing aid jellies with the drugs. These swallowing aid jellies have been proved that it reduces the stress on the throat when taking the drugs. If no jellies, so you can see the signal when the subject swallows the medicines, the tablets. But when using the jelly, so smooth signal, so you can not you didn't see the high signal here. That means when taking with the jelly, the throat does not experience any stress, helping a lot to the patients. Or you can use the swallowing flavor spray. This flavor spray help the patients to taste better by spraying the spray on the tongue before taking the drugs. This one can lubricate the surface of the tongues, also the tablets. So it facilitates swallowing to make it happen easily. Can use in adolescents, also with the elderly patient as well. Other techniques or innovation is the pill coatings. This one, if the patient has been prescribed with the plain tablets or the original tablet, but they have the difficulties in the swallowing, they can use this. Medcoat is the trade name of the pill coatings. Actually, it's the gelatin jellies in this, so you can see in this blister. And to take this one, so you just put the tablet through these jellies. It will be partially coated, the tablet. Then taking the drug coated with these jellies to make it a good, pleasant and refreshing taste when taking this one. And this slide shows how to use the pill coatings. So just peel off the both the top and bottom side, and then put the tablet through the jelly, so you can get the jelly coatings tablet. So you can use the full tablets or the half tablets anyway. Okay, that the technologies for the oral form. However, when we talking about the problems when prescribing the drugs to the elderly, it's not only the dosage form, but also the dosing frequencies or the numbers of the medicines that the elderly patients have to take. So this section will focus on the dosing frequency problems and polypharmacy problems. These studies, these papers published in journals of management care and pharmacies reported the dosing frequencies and the medication adherence of the drug compliance in the chronic disease patients. And they found that when taking several times a day will reduce the medication adherence of the patients. So if the patient take only once a day dosage forms, that mean maybe taking the drug in the mornings or at night, only once a day. So the adherence of the medication is 93%. But when taking twice a day, is reduced to 66%, 54% for thrice a day, and 4 times a day is reduced to 38% something. That means the numbers of the taking the medicine is very important. So in this case, the industry can do some things on the products that they have in the market by using like the controlled drug release dosage form to reduce the frequency, the dosing frequencies for the patients, to make like twice a day or once a day dosage form. Another problems for the elderly patients is the polypharmacy, when they have to take many drugs, multiple drugs together at once. As I mentioned earlier, that the elderly patient, they have the physiological change with the chronic disease. They have to take many drugs altogether. That would reduce the compliance or the adherence, the medication adherence to the treatment efficacy would be reduced because of these polypharmacy problems. Also, the safety is also reduced. The technologies that could be help to reduce these polypharmacy problems is using the polypills or fixed dose combinations. That means you can mix different kind of drugs together in one pills or one tablet or capsules anyways. This is commonly manufactured as a fixed dose combination. That means you cannot tailor the dose or cannot tailor the drugs because it has been manufactured by the industry. The dose is already fixed. However, this polypill can reduce the numbers of the tablets or capsules that have to be taken by the patients. For example, you can mix this aspirin, enalapril, hydrochlorothiazides, atorvastatins together, for different diseases. This slide shows the list of the selected examples of the commercially available polypills or fixed dose combinations in the market. That is the polypills or fixed dose combination FDC for diabetes, for the cardiovascular diseases, for the HIV, for other diseases. So you can see different. And this slide shows the products available in the market. These products also available in Thailand as well. These for the diabetes, for hyperlipidemia, or for the hypertension. So they mix at least 2 drugs together, mostly only 2 drugs together. But for the fixed dose combination, they usually mix 2 drugs for only one disease together. I mean, hypertension drugs and hypertension drugs, diabetes drug and diabetes drugs. They don't mix cross disease in the market right now. However, the polypills also have the limitations. The limitation is even it can be reduced, it can reduce the dosing flexibilities, when they have the adverse drug reactions or the ADR according to any kind of drug in the FDC. So we don't know which one is the cause of the ADR. So we have to stop the FDC. That means the patient don't get any drugs at all because the drug has combined in that tablet, okay, in that single dosing unit. So the pharmacists and the physicians can easily overlook the limit of the certain drugs because the patient cannot dose things that contained in the tablet. Okay. Also, sometimes the tablet size may be too big to swallow because they combine many drugs together in one tablet. That's difficult for the elderly patients. The challenges of the FDC or the polypills include the compatibilities, the physical-chemical compatibilities amongst all drugs when we combine in one single dosing unit. Also, the drug can also have the compatibilities with the excipients. It's difficult because they have many drugs together. The disproportionate drug dose combinations can be very challenging when we formulate all the QC steps. It's quite difficult because many drugs have been combined together. Also, the tablet size, as mentioned in the previous slide. That would be the challenges of this FDC. Recently, the 3D printing technologies has been used for the FDC development. This one is the printing techniques, but it's not printing on the papers like the 2D, but it's printing on the XY axis and also the vertical or the Z axis to make it the three-dimensional subjects that we can produce by the and using the polymers and drugs as the ink to be printed by the printers. Many printers has been developed for the 3D printing technologies, but only few, actually 3 or 4 types of the 3D printers have been used in the pharmaceutical development. That is the binder jet printing, as mentioned earlier, for the RPGS, the first 3D printed products available in the market right now, but others product from others 3D printing techniques are not available in the market yet. However, the most available report using the FDM or field depositions modeling, this because this one is easily to produce at low cost by mixing the polymers and the drugs together and then melt into the filament and then print it through the 3D printers. However, it has some limitations for some drugs that degraded with the high temperatures cannot be used by the FDMs, but can be used by the powder-based binder jet printings. Okay, that's just for the examples. This slide shows the examples of the combined tablets or the polypills fixed dose combinations in the research development steps. This one, they combine 5 drugs together, both the immediate release component, which is the aspirins and the hydrochlorothiazides as the immediate release components. And the extended release components composing of atenolols, pravastatins, and lamipils, that they then can make both immediate and extended release compartment in one tablet by using the 3D printing technologies. By using the conventional tableting techniques, it's difficult to make two compartments in one tablet, very difficult and taking times, but by using 3D printing is quite easier, but we have to make tablet by tablet, tailor-made to the patients. These examples show another dosage form, another tablet that is the fixed dose combinations with different drugs in different layers in the tablet. And in this study, they studied the effects of positions of the layers of tablet, of layer of drugs in the tablets. So if the drug on the top or at the bottom layers, the release is quite quick, but the layer in the middle, so the drug release is quite slow. So we have to consider this when formulating the combined tablets together. Okay, and this slide show the polypills that in the developing steps using the 3D printing. So you can see many formulations in the R&D step right now. Okay, so now we go to the probably the last sections on the packaging problems. When we prescribe the drugs to the elderly patients, there are some problems with the packaging that the producers must consider as well. The packaging problems for the elderly patients includes the instructions for use, the handling outer packagings, and handling immediate packagings. That is the result from these papers on the practical problems with the medical use that older people experience. So for the instruction for use, most of the patients found that the text on the leaflets is too small and they couldn't read even they use the eyeglasses because it's too small. Also, the information in the leaflets is too difficult for them to understand if they are the lay person. It's not the in the healthcare business, so they don't understand about the information in the leaflets, and the information is too extensive. If they labels the ADR or adverse event that may occur in the leaflet, that may distress the patients when they're reading through this adverse event that may occur. That would be the problem on the instructions for use with the instructions or the leaflet. Okay. Another problem is when the handlings of outer packagings, they may experience with the similar identifications of the product. For example, you can see here on the top photos here, the same drugs, lisinopril with the 20 milligrams or 10 milligrams, very similar. The different only the letter here, the number 2 or number 1 here, 10 or 20 here, and the colors is very similar. Some people cannot distinguish the colors because the similarities, so they may take the wrong one. That would be the problems. On the right photo here, if we don't read on the product names, maybe we think it's the same. So if you take one, like now, when you have seen this one, you don't know that it's different drugs, right? Actually, it's the propylthiouracil and the colchicine, which is for different disease. Okay. Another problems with the outer packaging is opening the packagings. When we put the product in the box, and we usually use the tapes to protect the openings of the box. Some box they to open to peel off the tape is difficult. So the patients may experience the difficulty in opening the box. We can solve this by help them just using some stick to help to open, to peel off the tapes. Okay, or the lappers allow the blisters. If you use the thick plastics lap here, so it's also difficult to take without using the scissors to cut the lap. But this box, so this box, they have the removing the blister. They have the openings side here, so you can put the side here to opening the box. That help the patients to opening the box is easier. Okay. Another thing is the handling of immediate packagings. For the immediate packagings, to open or closing the container may be difficult, especially when they use the child-proof bottle. That they have some techniques to open the bottles that we have to train, the patients how to open or close the containers. Also, when using the blister here, we have to train the patients how to remove the medicines from the blisters. For this one, if the drug is the ODT, the fragile drugs, so they don't, the producers don't recommend to place the blisters like other products, because the tablet inside is very fragile. It could be break or crumble when removed from the blisters. This one have to peel the blister on another side, very, gently. When we separate the individual unit for some products, like on the right hand side here, so if the patients separating the unit from the blister here, so they don't have the information about the product. They don't see the expiry dates on the top here, because the expiry dates may be on the some part here on the lowest part of the blisters. But in some companies, they just put all information in each individual unit, like the expiration date, the batch, the manufacturing dates, the expirations, also the drug names, the dose in all individual unit. But in this kind, maybe just some unit that have the information, but some unit they don't have the information. That would be the another problems when providing the medicines with different packagings to the patients. Okay, so in conclusion, so today we talk about the these functions of the physiologies or the organs or the changes when people get older or the aged peoples, and they have the problem with the polypharmacy, the dosing frequency, also the swallowing difficulties, and the last one is the packaging problems altogether. But we can solve these problems by design the products using the patient-centric pharmaceutical product design by taking the needs of the patients into consideration. That could help us to provide the innovations, the best product that meet the specific physiological, psychological, and the multiple drug requirement for the individual elderly patients. Okay, and thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much, Dr. Phonsak. So anyway, we have one more question from the audience. They would like to know that, could you please elaborate more about the hygroscopicity of ODTs as the limitation?
Okay, so the hygroscopic mean that the chemicals, the drug or the excipients that can absorb moistures or absorb waters very quickly, even the moisture in the environment, and to make it watery, or it also affects the physical chemical properties of the drugs, especially for the ODT that very fragile. So if it absorbs the moistures or the waters from the environment, it can make the collapse of the tablet, and the tablet is not porous anymore. So that would be the problems when the ODT is. We have to protect them from the moistures.
Okay, so thank you very much for your answer, and thank you again, Dr. Phonsak, for a very insightful presentation. So anyway, moving on for the next topic by Dr. Bing Sun Tan. He is the Pharmacist Application Lab Manager from Rocket Asia Pacific. He will be presenting on the topic enabling age-appropriate geriatric dosage form. So please welcome Dr. B.
Welcome to this webinar titled Enabling Age-Appropriate Geriatric Dosage Forms. I'm Bing, and I lead the Pharma Application team at Rocket's Innovation Center in Singapore. As a leading global supplier of pharma excipients, we take great pride in being a trusted partner of our pharma customers, offering quality solutions that help save and sustain lives. In the next 15 minutes, I'm going to share with you some of the important considerations when selecting excipients for formulation of geriatric dosage forms. The increasingly popular concept of patient centricity means that dosage forms have to become more age-appropriate. In the case of geriatric patients, age-appropriate dosage forms have to address key challenges such as dysphagia, where patients have difficulty in swallowing, poor palatability or taste when buccal dosage forms are preferred, And lastly, polypharmacy, when patients need to consume 5 or more medications on a regular basis. To overcome these challenges, several elderly appropriate dosage forms, such as oral dispersible tablets, films, and fixed-dose combination tablets have been developed or proposed. However, many of these less conventional dosage forms require innovative technologies to enable their formulation and production. In oral dispersible tablets, for example, innovative process technologies for production like freeze drying and also new analytical methods to characterize disintegration have been researched and proposed to enable commercialization of these products. What is equally important but possibly less discussed is the importance of selecting suitable excipients that can facilitate these novel processes and meet the unique requirements of these alternative dosage forms. In the next few slides, we will look at how understanding and innovation of excipients can play an important role to help formulators overcome these main challenges faced during development of medicines for the elderly. Oral dispersible tablets, also known as ODTs, is a dosage form designed to help overcome the challenge of dysphagia. However, formulating an ODT is also challenging as it requires fast disintegration while maintaining good mechanical properties of the tablet, a pleasant taste, and mouthfeel. ODTs can be made by different processes, for example, freeze drying, molding, compression, among which direct compression is the most efficient process, and hence excipients which can be directly compressed to form ODTs are highly valuable. Polytol Flash is a co-processed excipient from Rocket that specifically enables ODTs by direct compression. Polytol Flash is a co-processed excipient produced by spray drying, comprising about 80% mannitol and 20% cornstarch. It combines the excellent stability, chemical inertness, and non-hygroscopicity of mannitol with the disintegration and self-lubrication properties of cornstarch. Polytol Flash is a simple and ready-to-use matrix filler that's able to provide quick disintegration in the mouth that is not significantly influenced by tablet hardness. There's also no need for addition of any other super disintegrants. In this study, comparing Polytol Flash, labeled as P1, with other commercially available ODT platforms, in vivo disintegration time of Polytol Flash was the lowest among the samples tested. Also, the in vivo disintegration time for Polytol Flash was maintained even when tablet hardness was increased. This is because Polytol Flash is able to provide a porous matrix with good wettability that facilitate water penetration for the disintegrant to take action. This unique property allows more flexibility for formulators to manage the tablet mechanical properties like hardness without a negative impact on the disintegration time. Most importantly, Polytol Flash also imparts a pleasant, slightly sweet taste and mouthfeel with very creamy and smooth texture that is well appreciated by patients. Oral dispersible film, also known as ODF, is another example of a dosage form that can be used to overcome dysphagia. Most commercial ODFs today typically comprise the film-forming polymer, API, plasticizer, and other additives such as flavors, sweeteners, or colors in formulation. However, the commercial formulations tend to be very complex due to the need to adjust polymer plasticizer combinations in order to achieve target film properties. Lycote, a hydroxypropylated P-starch excipient from Rocket, has shown great potential as a sole film-forming polymer with excellent functionality and ease of use. While some grades of Lycote can be easily dispersed in cold water, it is generally recommended to prepare the solution at 70 degrees Celsius in order to improve its film-forming ability. Compared with native starch solutions, Lycote heated solutions can be immediately cooled down since there is little risk of gelation and retrogradation due to the high stability of the hydroxypropylated starch molecules. In one study comparing Lycote with other polymers used in ODFs such as HPMC, hydroxyethyl cellulose, and polyvinyl alcohol, Lycote showed faster dissolution time, moderate moisture uptake, and satisfactory mechanical properties. Hence, Lycote is an innovative solution to enable simple formulations of ODFs while providing desirable performance in dissolution, a neutral taste, and also film strength. Forming multiparticulates is another strategy used to overcome the challenge of dysphagia. These multiparticulates are small and hence much easier to swallow than conventional tablets or capsules. Also, multiparticulate dosage forms can allow for personalized dosing using specially designed metered dosing devices. Examples of multiparticulates include familiar dosage forms such as powders, granules, and pellets. Mini tablets is another more recent form of multiparticulate that offers a more precise and homogeneous dose per unit. These mini tablets are made using standard or slightly modified tablet presses fitted with multi-tip tooling. As the die holes are small, the particle size and flow of the formulation are critically important to ensure consistent filling and reduce weight variability. Depending on the setup of the press, the feeder, and the tooling configuration, the requirements of particle size and flow may be affected. For example, in this study evaluating mannitol-based granules for 2.3 mm round biconvex mini tablets, 7 different grades of mannitol from different suppliers were compared. Perlitol 100 SD and 200 SD from Rocket, which are our spray-dried mannitol products for direct compression, demonstrated consistently lower weight variation of about 1% RSD, regardless of changes in the feeder type and press speed. This robustness will be beneficial to minimize out of specs in the product properties arising from fluctuations in the product process. The mini tablets made from the intermediate Perlitol 100 SD drug granules were also selected to demonstrate good drug content uniformity, which could be correlated to the consistent weight and die filling. We now move on to the second challenge of poor palatability, which is usually referring to the problem of bitter taste of APIs in pharma. Good palatability is important to improve patient compliance, especially when formulating buccal dosage forms such as ODT or ODFs that we discussed earlier. There are several available approaches to taste masking, and one of the commonly used methods is the formation of inclusion complexes. This diagram at the upper right is a schematic representation of the formation of a drug cyclodextrin inclusion complex. The API gas molecule in orange is nested within the hydrophobic cavity of the cyclodextrin, effectively shielding it from the environment and masking the bad taste. At Rocket, we offer both native and modified beta-cyclodextrins, and also a P-maltodextrin under our Kleptos brand name. These products have been shown to offer taste masking effects as well as API solubility enhancement effects. For example, in this study, evaluating the taste masking effect of Rocket's hydroxypropylated beta-cyclodextrin and P-maltodextrin for the beta API praziquantel, the results from the in vivo animal model test showed that both products were equally effective at masking the bitter taste of the API in solution at 2 different concentrations. They both performed favorably over the SBE beta-cyclodextrin, which was less tolerated by the mice. In another example, Kleptos line caps, which is our P-maltodextrin, was processed by hot melt extrusion process with API to produce taste mask granules of prisofulvin and caffeine anhydrous. The taste score provided by a human panel showed significant improvement of the taste of the hot melt extruded granules versus the physical mixture. For mildly bitter APIs, selecting excipients with a sweet taste may be sufficient to mask the bitter taste. Polyols such as mannitol, sorbitol, xylitol, and maltitol are examples of excipients that have an inherent sweet taste. These polyols are available in both solid and liquid forms, which make them highly adaptable for all kinds of oral dosage forms. As each polyol has a different level of sweetness, it is possible to choose the suitable product or combination based on your desired taste. The bar chart on the right shows the relative levels of sweetness compared to sucrose. Xylitol has a similar sweetness to sucrose, followed by maltitol, sorbitol, and mannitol. Additionally, powdered polyols, especially xylitol and sorbitol, can also provide a pleasant cooling effect in the mouth when used in oral dispersible dosage forms, which may further enhance the sensory experience. Different polyols can also be used to manufacture tablets with different textures and properties. In this example, we use xylitol, maltitol, and sorbitol to produce tablets with different levels of crunchiness. Using an in-house developed in vitro method, we were able to measure the crunchiness based on load cell data, looking at the amplitude and frequency of peaks in the profiles. You can see that Xylisorb or xylitol tablets were the most crunchy, as it had the most jagged profile from the load cell, while Neosorb or sorbitol tablets were the least crunchy. The results of the in vitro test correlated very well with the sensory evaluation by a trained human panel. This study demonstrates that understanding of excipients and their properties is important if you want to select the right excipients, in this case, to be able to tune the texture of the tablet according to your needs. Finally, the third challenge we will discuss today is polypharmacy, or the use of multiple medications. In order to reduce pill burden and improve patient compliance, fixed-dose combination tablets have been developed to combine 2 or more APIs into a single pill. While this is desirable for patients, it presents new challenges to formulators who now have to consider the increased risk of chemical incompatibilities between the APIs, as well as the excipients, which is a lot more complex than a regular tablet with only one API. Hence, it is advantageous to select excipients that are known to be very stable and chemically inert, such as mannitol, so that it can be generally compatible to most excipients and API. Another form of fixed-dose combination tablet is multi-layer tablets. This type of tablets can offer a lower risk of chemical incompatibility as APIs are separated in different layers, and they can also offer modified release profiles depending on the formulation. However, multi-layer tablets presents its own challenges, especially in managing the dose uniformity and tablet mechanical integrity. Excipients with good flow, compactability, and non-hygroscopicity will provide an increased chance of success. This example from a patent for the fixed-dose combination of levodopa, carbidopa, and entacapone demonstrates the complexity and consideration required when choosing suitable excipients for FDC tablets. Commonly used excipients such as MCC, PEG, and silica were found to cause instability of the APIs that were observed during storage, even though MCC was previously used in the respective single or dual API products. Eventually, the inventors recommended the use of compatible excipients with mannitol and maize starch, forming the majority proportion of the inactive ingredients. From what I have shared so far in this brief webinar, I hope it is apparent that having a wide range of excipient options to select from will provide formulators with the best tools and platform to succeed in their research and development. Rocket has one of the largest portfolio of plant-based excipients that are specially designed and approved for use in oral prescription, drugs, nutraceutical, OTC products, and also parenterals such as injections and biopharmaceuticals. For more technical information about our products, including those mentioned in this webinar, please visit our technical website, Rocket Pharma Innovation Hub, where you have 24/7 access to important technical data, research articles, and formulation guidance. Easy-to-use tools such as our product selection guide will help you to find what you need to develop your next drug product. You can also contact us directly through the Innovation Hub and get a response from our technical experts within 2 working days. With that, I thank you very much for your kind attention. And if you enjoyed this webinar, please visit Rocket Pharma Innovation Hub for more similar content.
So thank you very much, Dr. Ping. And on behalf of Informa Markets, I would like to express our thanks once again to Professor Dr. Phonsak Siamonsak and our sponsor, Dr. Bing Suntan, Pharmacist Application Lab Manager from Rocket Asia Pacific, for your valuable content. And of course, thanks to all the audience for your kind attentions. Again, I would like to remind all of you that the CPHI Southeast Asia Digital Event is still going on from today until 10th of December. So please stay tuned with us for more insight, presentation, and gain more knowledge in pharmaceutical industry. Thank you again.